Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Black Mirror 2. So we're in this point in Chapter 5 and the audio's not playing. I think that's probably gonna stop being the issue though. This kind of feels like a blatant ripoff of the end of Broken Sword 1, which was an unfinished puzzle in itself.
An old-fashioned oil lamp. This place must have been even spookier in flickering light from a flame.
Interesting, the music must trigger after you trigger other kinds of audio. So we're trying to get this bird to give us probably the one object we need to open this door. I don't know what's behind the door, I don't know what we're doing. Seems like we're trying to stop the evil demon Mordred, but we don't have anything that really even tells us how we would do that.
There's a big hole in the roof. It wasn't really able to withstand the weather.
In fact, in all honesty, Darren doesn't even believe that the evil demon exists. In the first game, we defeated, I guess, Mordred too. Mordred also. And then Samuel Gordon killed himself because he couldn't live with the thought that that he was under the control of Mordred and killing people.
I'd rather leave it where it is.
One could argue that Darren is doing the same thing, or maybe, I mean, you can't say Angelina was doing the same thing now unless Angelina's still alive somehow. So there's really no other suspects unless it's the crazy guy or nothing else even starts to make any sense at all.
Pretty modern sleeping bag. Was it hers?
So we're following in the path of Angelina, I guess.
Pretty modern sleeping bag. Was it hers?
I don't know why you would say hers like that. It'd be nice if the game was about to be done. I doubt it is. This arguably is better than the maze at the end of Black Mirror 1.
The gate won't move, and I can't see a latch or a keyhole.
Because, yeah, that maze at the end of the first game really sucked. A lot of the puzzles and a lot of the things.
There are 3 grooves on each side. No idea what you can do with it.
A lot of the puzzles in this game, Black Mirror 2, have been incredibly just there for no reason and a little obscure and very linear. You can't do anything out of order. I understand that point-and-click adventures in the old days, decades before this would have come out, saved a lot of their money and stopped piracy, basically, by being so complicated that you would need the instruction guide, the walkthrough, the player's guide. A lot of point-and-click adventures were designed to be extremely cryptic, so you call the 900 number and ask for help. But this was a 2011 release, if I have the dates right. That's decades ago. This should be a lot more simpler. Players, maybe, were dumber than we used to be. Very definitely we have less time. And so when you get into puzzles that have no real hints, and even though your system here has a whole system, oops, did I just reveal something? I didn't read it, whatever it said. Kind of know what I'm gonna do anyways. Having incredibly difficult puzzles doesn't do much for me these days.
I'd say the raven pecked it apart. Maybe he was looking for something edible.
There is a problem though
with
this game, because the storyline isn't very good either. So switching between a puzzle and a storyline, I'd frankly take the puzzle. a more complicated puzzle at least has me be interactive.
Some clothes. They really could have belonged to Angelina. And here, a little book. Is that... That's gotta be Angelina's diary. And here, there's a folded note in the book.
Let's read
But one
this.
thing at a time. What's she written on the last pages?
So, are we gonna read it automatically?
Tuesday, I found him.
He's called Darren Michaels. Or rather, that's the name that they have given him, if I'm right about my suspicions. He's very nice. I don't think he has the faintest idea about the whole thing. I wanted to speak to Mrs. Michaels, but nobody came to the door when I rang the bell. There seems to be a man following me. Even before my departure, I had the feeling of being watched. What does the man want from me? Evening. Mrs. Michaels has had a terrible accident. She's lying in hospital with severe head injuries. I wonder if she had already fallen when I rang the bell. Oh, God, I'm imagining all sorts of horrible things. Wednesday. I've been arrested for the murder of a man whom I barely know. I was led into a trap. A voice told me over the phone that they had information about Darren. When I arrived at the store, I discovered the body and was promptly arrested. I think my pursuer is behind this. Or am I being paranoid? Who can have an interest in finally ending all of this? Afternoon. Darren is so sweet the way he's really gone to town to help me. He's so ready to help. He's a bit of an oddball, but I like him a lot. Doesn't matter if he is who I think he is. I've found a good friend. Or maybe more. Later. Reginald Boris. That's my pursuer's name. There's no doubt anymore. He's here to hinder my search, to stop what I'm doing. Who has sent him?
Who writes the diary like this?
It's him. I know it now. He brought a little casket with him on our first date. Inside there was a photo of his mother and the servant Bates. They were standing in front of the gate at Black Mirror Castle. I recognized it immediately. He simply has to be a Gordon. His mother had an affair, and after the fire, she went to the USA. But I don't have the guts to tell him. His mom's lying in the hospital, and he has enough to worry about. On the other hand, I've got to find out who my new adversaries are. What might happen if I were to take Darren back to Willow Creek, and in doing so, bring him into danger? I couldn't forgive myself for that. I'll go back on my own and start my own investigations into who our enemies are. I'll tell Darren everything at some point.
So after Angelina's dead, we get another character twist. Just bad writing, basically, of having her seem guilty and then seem innocent, and well, seem innocent, then seem guilty, then seem innocent again. And what kind of person writes later in their diary, or writes in the diary 3 times a day? This feels pretty staged to me.
Like I thought. Angelina knew more than she let on the whole time. And she put herself in danger to protect me.
You didn't
it all
think
fits
that.
together. The payments from Willow Creek, there being no pictures of my father, and me not being able to remember him. There was no car crash. There was a fire in the castle, and my mother was injured then. She was sent to the USA and received a pension, or maybe hush money. The only thing I don't understand, what is it all about? What did Angelina want to achieve, and what does the Order want to prevent? Most importantly, what have I got to do with it?
Still a good argument that he should just board the first plane home and just give up on all of this.
This note was stuck in the diary. It's a letter. Darren, I hope this letter finds you.
I can't tell you just how sorry I am that I wasn't honest with you right from the start. I've underestimated the danger from the Order for way too long. I've been playing a little game, and now it looks like I've lost. The Order's agents are creeping through the ruins, and it's only a matter of time until they discover this room. I'm going to hide the pieces, and I'm going to try to break through to get to the village. Perhaps I can at least keep them away from the gate. Should you be reading this letter, then I haven't made it. And so, I ask you to complete my work. You don't believe in the curse, I know that. How could you, though? You were so far away. But I came across some illustrations during my studies, and it's all true. Terrible things happen here every 12 years. And that's been going on for centuries. Maybe it's mass suggestion, or maybe it's some kind of radiation, or maybe it's a curse. Call it what you like, but it has to stop. The key to all evil is hidden beneath the academy. A chamber which was used centuries ago for some kind of dark rites. There are also the soul keys which Samuel Gordon discovered 12 years ago. Destroy them. Destroy everything. And if it's all just a fantasy in the people's heads around here, take away the reason for them to fear. But guard yourself against the Order. It is an occult sect which I had believed to have died out. A great mistake. It still exists. They mess about with dead bodies and they want your blood. According to the legend, only a male Gordon can open the cult's chamber, touch the soul keys, and carry out the dark rituals. That is why I was looking for you. I believe that you are the last of the Gordons. You are in the greatest danger, as long as the keys and summoning chamber are not destroyed. Then the Order will hunt you down to the very ends of the earth. Up until now, I haven't managed to penetrate the catacombs. To open the gate, you need to have the mosaic tiles. I have only found one. It's in my rucksack. The other two are hidden somewhere within the castle. The only clue I have to the hiding place of one of the other tiles is a name. Maximilian Mortimer Gordon. You have to return to Black Mirror Castle and look for the mosaic tiles there. The danger is great, since I'm sure that most of the castle's residents are also members of the Order, so don't make yourself known to them. It's the only chance of getting the mosaic pieces, and the only chance, perhaps, to discover who your father is. It's all so awful, Darren. It's as though I've opened Pandora's box. I wanted to do something good, and in doing so have brought you into terrible danger. I hope that everything will come good in the end, and that we too can start afresh together. With love, Angelina.
Listening to 2 long speeches from Angelina from beyond the grave is too much.
A curse? All of this because of a curse. The blood of the Gordons. An occult secret society which like to call up the devil in person. It's all so crazy. How can you kill folks in the name of such a fantasy? How can anyone get so caught up in this superstitious baloney that they kill for it? But Angelina's right. Bizarre as these people's motives might be, they're gonna keep on going as long as they can see a chance of achieving their goal. They've got to be stopped. And I'm gonna stop them.
So this is like the first point we've had any kind of quest or goal, really, in the whole game. And we're in Act 5. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I guess I kind of get the idea now. We're trying to break the curse, so we're not going to just do the exact same things from the first game. At least there's some thought there. But, man, this quest should have started in Act 2. Or at the end of Act 1 at least.
A piece of mosaic's not in the rucksack, and there's nothing else lying around here. But I should check inside the sleeping bag just to make sure.
So I assume what happens here is the Robin took the mosaic. Now we're going to go to Black Mirror. We're going to run around Black Mirror Mansion looking for
nothing.
Mosaic tiles.
No mosaic tiles. I think I know who's got it.
And that'll get us into this chamber, which, as I understand it, is different from the chamber of the Order. And there's still a lot here that would imply that Angelina might be trying to cause the curse to happen.
Plinth. The pieces of mosaic that Angelina wrote about fit in the 3 grooves on each side of it.
Okay. So I think there's 2 chambers. I could be wrong about that. Unless we're supposed to do something with something shiny. I don't know. Breadcrumbs.
Blackmere Castle. It'd be best if I walk and steer clear of the village and the roads.
So I'm just leaving this area. I don't think I have what I need to get the mosaic tile here.
I knew my path would one day lead here. I'll find out who my father is, find the mosaic pieces, and make sure that Angelina's death hasn't been in vain. But I gotta be damn careful. According to Angelina, at least one of the castle's residents is a member of the Order. Maybe I can find out who that is.
This is a different layout and look of the gate. It's alright, I suppose. I don't know if we really needed a scene like this.
Castle looks real gloomy. The overgrown garden, the damp fog, and my current state of mind don't really help it seem any friendlier. The 2 stone figures look almost identical.
There's 3 stone figures.
The stone figurine is a naked woman, a nymph.
Was it really
seems they're a
necessary?
bit more relaxed with nudity here in England.
Like, was it really necessary to have a gate puzzle? Let's look at the mailbox.
Huh. The lock on the letterbox seems to be damaged. Empty.
Before I do anything, let's see if there's anything I should take the picture from. Let's see, like, honestly, I probably shouldn't ring the bell.
An electric doorbell? I was expecting an old bell.
Trying to click on everything and exhaust everything.
I wouldn't even have dreamed of standing in front of this gate a few days ago.
Seems like I have to click on everything twice.
The entire estate is probably enclosed by this fence. The aristocrats in this country don't really foster an open-door culture. It looks just like the photo. It almost looks like time stood still here.
I'm starting to think maybe
anything that could be of interest.
Mirror 3 might be the game where it's a prequel and it goes back into the past. Seems unlikely that's going to happen in this one.
I can't see anything peculiar.
Just trying to exhaust everything.
Alright, I don't need to examine it in such detail.
It's still, everything is still here. Must have to come back later.
There's a really thick branch lying in the undergrowth. Looks solid.
Grab a branch. Should out
It's
from
damp
use.
but not rotten. It must have broken off the tree quite recently. Maybe in the storm yesterday.
Into the castle we go.
Huh. The braces on this door are badly weathered. Two have turned to rust and aren't even connected to the door frame at the bottom.
So open it.
No way. The braces are only connected to the frame on one side, but they're much more resistant than I thought.
Let's try a branch.
Using this branch as a lever should work.
If this is anything like
That's
the
it.
first game, there's barely going to be 10 people in the entire castle, so if anybody sees me at all, I think I'm immediately caught.
Hey! How did you get in here?
The gate was open.
Really? I'll wring that brat's neck. I've told her 100 times that the gate must always stay closed if we don't want yobbos snooping around the grounds.
If you're referring to me, I'm not a yobo. I'm a policeman.
Oh, you don't say. Then you're sure to have ID. Can I help you, sir?
So
I've
we've
told
got a new
Mr.
groundskeeper.
Lewis, good sir. To you, it's just Lewis. You'll take care of this, Bates?
Bates
Wonderful.
sounds like this might be the same
You
butler
will have
from
to
before.
excuse our gardener, sir. How can I help you?
My name is Falk. I'm investigating a murder that occurred at the lighthouse last night.
I heard about that. Terrible. But tell me, your accent.
I still have a theory that
I'm
Angelina might
part of an
also be a
exchange
Gordon.
program. The United
or
States,
distant cousin.
Canada, and Great Britain exchange detectives to learn about the various investigative methods. Sherlock Holmes meets Dick Tracy, you might say.
If the government deems it necessary. What about
This is a
Inspector
different scene
Collier?
from the
Shouldn't
first
he
game
be
too. It
accompanying
looks
you?
better.
He's sick today.
I see. He is getting on a bit. How can I help you?
It's a shame we didn't see this stuff like way earlier in the game. Way earlier in the game. Somewhere around the Act 2. Let's ask about Black Mirror.
This
Just
is an
gonna
amazing
click
property.
everything. Can't even click
Indeed.
X.
It's a place steeped in history.
Unfortunately, all that history often had plenty to do with blood, death, and misfortune, from what I've heard.
The Gordon family was often put to the test. That's true.
Forgive me for putting it like this, but the castle doesn't make the best impression.
I don't understand what that has to do with your inquiry, Mr. Falk.
A witness saw an unusual black car at the crime scene.
What do you mean by unusual? The Gordon family does have a classic 30s English automobile in its possession.
Unusual enough. Were you up on the cliff with the car this morning?
The ladies haven't driven out anywhere today. And I also don't think that Lewis has taken the car either. Ask him. He looks after the car. Mainly when he should be looking after the garden.
This butler talks way too slow. It's just this old, I'm old, so I'm gonna talk slow voice acting technique. That's not good. Not when you have to put out as much information as this game is trying to put out.
This Lewis has a bit of an abrupt manner.
He's Welsh.
Uh-huh.
He came with his mistress, Lady Eleanor, when she moved in here after the death of her husband. He used to look after her castle's gardens in Wales.
Oh, so he's the gardener from the first game.
He used to have a different kind of work ethic there.
Lady Eleanor owns a castle in Wales?
She does. Her husband, Sir Richard, was killed in a dreadful accident a few years back. She moved here soon after that.
Interesting.
So, the lady of Black Mirror may be the Lady Eleanor from the first game in the Wales castle, not the lady from the first game who seemed kind of old to still be alive 30 years later. Or 13 years later, or however long it's been since the first game.
What can you tell me about Samuel's ghost, which some of the tourists believe they've seen?
Indeed, there are a few tourists who believe they have seen him. But nothing unusual has happened for 12 years now, apart from the castle being virtually besieged by tourists every now and again.
But not anymore.
No. Although, only yesterday there was a married couple who came to see the castle and its alleged ghost. Since they asked me politely in advance, I let them have a look around the garden. But did they find what they wanted? I very much doubt it. There are no ghosts here.
So, maybe there's two ladies of the house. I guess that's what this image is indicating. Maybe it's both old ladies. Was there something else I was gonna say? Something I was thinking about. Yeah. The 12-year cycle of the curse, has it already begun, or is it just about to begin? It'd be kind of surprising if the curse starts at the end of the game and then there are just 5 flashes in which somebody gets killed and Mordred is set free.
You said ladies.
Lady Victoria, she owns Black Mirror Castle, and Lady Eleanor is a relative of hers from Wales. The ladies are the last of the Gordons. They reside here in the castle.
Can I have a word with them?
I would prefer it if you didn't disturb them. Lady Victoria is not a young woman.
She wasn't young in the first
game. No harm in a few
game.
words, surely.
Whatever there might be to discuss, you can also discuss with me. I've been involved with the Gordons for more than 70 years. I can tell you everything you may wish to know.
Then I guess I'm just have to ask about Angelina.
This woman has been murdered. Did you know her?
Are you sure, sir?
Sadly, yes. Her name is Angelina Morgan. You seem to recognize her.
Come with me, sir. We'll have to show this to the ladies.
Fine.
So I get to meet the ladies after all. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we're kind of limited to where we can go.
One moment, please, sir.
Like,
I'll announce
in the
your
first
arrival.
game, we were always going in this sitting room on the lower right hand side. And it seems like the ladies are just sitting in the main hall. This hall looked interesting.
What was that in the mirror?
But there's...
Mr. Falk, their ladyships are ready to receive you.
Like, I was expecting in the
Mr.
first
Falk?
game
Is everything all right?
a twist in which one of the evil-looking brother was the good one, but it didn't happen.
Yes, thank you. I didn't sleep well.
Seriously, both of them look younger and better
Victoria?
animated than the first game, but I mean,
Lady Eleanor.
8
My name
years
is Inspector
difference.
Falk. I'm investigating a murder case.
Bates said you had a photograph of the victim.
That's right. Do you know her?
What's her name?
Angelina Morgan.
I don't know her.
If that's everything.
I do have a few more questions.
It's all right, Bates. Of course, we will be glad to cooperate with the police. Drive to the village and do the job I asked you to do. I'm sure the inspector will keep us company.
Of course,
Very
we've
well,
got an
Mom.
issue here that's very common in 3D animating and,
So,
and rigging, is they've
How
got
can
the
we
characters
help you?
programmed to go in cycles of actions over and over again way too fast. So slight turns of the heads, looking down, looking up, Here we have someone knitting at a breakneck speed that nobody would ever knit at unless they were doing it for money. We can't do anything else, so let's just ask the questions and then see if we can look around Black Mirror.
You seem to be extremely keen to see the picture of the dead woman. And Bates had a noticeable reaction when I showed him the picture. You are sure that you don't know this young lady?
Quite sure. Only we are concerned. The murder took place quite close to here.
Not the first.
Sadly, you're quite right. It's now. It's 12 years ago, you understand? So many years. And now there's another murder.
Tell me about the series of murders 12 years ago.
No. It doesn't have a thing to do with this crime.
Leave all that alone. Please confine yourself to this murder case. This is quite bad enough already.
I didn't think she was gonna speak at all.
Your butler Bates seems to be looking after you.
He has been our butler for decades. He is something like the decent soul of this house. He sees it as his highest duty to do all he can for my well-being.
He needed to retire in the first game.
Even if he neglects his own welfare.
Is he ill?
Yes, I fear he is. We've often suggested that he sit with us and enjoy some peace and quiet for a while. But he always strictly denies that he can no longer fulfill his obligations. We've recently taken on domestic help to at least help him out a little.
May I look around the castle? I'd very much like to talk to Lewis one more time.
Of course. We have nothing to hide. Stay as long as you like. Only please keep away from the private rooms.
That goes without saying, ma'am.
Well, clearly it doesn't. And we have Victoria and Eleanor. And we're back. Seemed like he was showing a different picture of Angelina. I keep wanting to call her Angela. Right, no, don't go to the hallway. So, in the first game there was this whole side section, but the resolution was so low I didn't realize that the side section that they were showing me was actually the back of this hallway. And maybe it wasn't in the first game, or it wasn't intended to be this way. But this certainly works out better. Makes more sense. It was very confusing walking around
a small fire for such an impressive fireplace.
Black Mirror.
The old ladies here seem to be a lot tougher than back in the States. Over there it'd be at least 82 degrees in every room.
We've got a ridiculous amount of things.
I'll have time to stare into the flames and be all melancholy when this is over. Jeez. Now that's a friendly-looking face. That's how I imagine a bloodthirsty Russian czar would look like.
So here we have
wild eyes, evil glare, and expensive clothes. I'm quite sure that he didn't earn the bling on his fingers and round his neck through hard work.
I'm trying to click on everything and exhaust everything. And see, Darren saw a ghost in the mirror.
I'd say something like a knight or a nobleman.
If there is a ghost,
judging by his clothing, he must have been around 100 years ago.
Samuel Gordon.
He seems somehow familiar. Probably an ancestor of the Gordons. Huh. The plant hasn't been here long. Considering the amount of light it gets, it's not gonna last long either.
Look in the Black Mirror.
I don't want to look in there again.
This globe played like no part.
A huge metal globe. A monstrous thing.
Very very interesting, certainly, but seems like there's a stairway that goes under the globe, too. Interesting. Did Samuel really just figure out a way to get...
The chair looks inviting, but it's too early to have a rest.
Let's click on the globe and see where this takes us. Ah, yes, it's just a zoomed in area. And we have a barrier.
There's an ornate fence or some kind of barrier around the globe. No idea what that's for. There's an ornate fence.
And it's probably the hide that this whole thing lifts up and turns into a like a spiral staircase. If I was to guess.
There's some letters engraved in the stone plate on the globe's pedestal. There are names. A whole series of them. Wait a minute. The first name is Maximilian Mortimer Gordon. That's the name from Angelina's notes. Does that mean... Huh. I can't hear anything, but the stone slab could be the lid of a secret compartment in the globe's pedestal, and it would be an ideal hiding place for a piece of mosaic.
Seems like we kind of already solved the thing.
I'm almost certain there's a secret compartment hidden behind the stone slab, but how can I get to it?
Knife?
The knife would bend before moving the slab an inch.
Lockpick? Seems like we're gonna need some stronger bit of hardware. And it seems like the music's not playing, so let's get out of this area. Alright. What I'm not seeing is... Well, I can go up the stairs. I can go through this door. This door actually, in the first game, was caved in and would have to be a recent remodel.
Why are there only candles burning here?
Hall, stairs. Let's go where we know would just be the library, unless things have moved around on us. Nope. They redid all of this. That's a lot of animation. A lot of animation here for questionable reasons.
At its peak, the British Empire encompassed around a quarter of the entire landmass of the planet and around a third of its population. The globe is from this period. The ladies probably approve more of this division of the world than the real one.
And here's a family tree. Can't walk any further to the right. Let's see, there's a back button and a family tree button.
That's the Gordon's family tree. Almost the same as the one in Wales. That's the Gordon's family
Doesn't seem like there's anything different there. Got a telephone.
An old-fashioned telephone. Who should I call?
Take a picture of the family tree. That was an unlock. I figured it might be. Sure feels like there's a lot more game. Feels like we're starting a whole different game. Like, I don't know how this could be an accelerated experience as it's being presented to me. Even if there are no puzzles left in the
Shakespeare
game, which
dramas,
I doubt that's the case.
Shakespeare tragedies, Shakespeare comedies. Ah, poetry by Shakespeare. The
Okay.
Encyclopedia Britannica in at least 3 editions. Will there ever be a bigger reference book? Bibles and religious texts. Some of them look damn valuable. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a handwritten version hidden somewhere here.
Is any of this gonna be useful looking at bookshelves?
Stories, adventures, and fairy tales. Dickens, Defoe, Anderson, Jules Verne. These are probably the most modern books in this library.
Okay. And I don't see anything else. And I don't see a way to get to the back side of this area. In the first game, there was several puzzle things and a book on the table that were big factors. Here it seems like they're just not even going to be visible, so you don't have to worry about them. Let's see what this new model is.
A large double-winged door. It's no different from the others.
Let's go. This should be the remodeled section, so I have no clue what's in here.
It's locked.
Inspector, you have no reason to be here. This door is to remain closed.
Okay.
Certainly, madam. Please forgive me. Why is she making such a big deal about this door?
That would have been, one assumes, the burnt wing. Alright. Seems like we still have pretty good free reign. Is there really a way to exit, though? Or are we just in the Black Mirror area? We've got a new cook. Although it seems like my first thought about any of these employees that work at Black Mirror might just be cannon fodder to cause
Oh, excellent. Transylvania may be somewhere in Romania.
like
But don't worry, we're
cause
ready for
people to
undead in this castle too.
get killed, or just have people to get killed. Let's play a little bit logically. We're looking for the tiles. If I can't go down this door down to the sewers, I probably can't get under the house.
The door is bolted. Might lead to a storeroom or a cellar.
I really don't even have a lot of reason to talk to anybody right now.
A pair of old rubber boots. They're as clean as when they were made, though. Perhaps they belong to Lewis.
I can pick up things and play like I normally would play in a point-and-click adventure, but I'm also a little deterred around that idea. Let's see, we could go to the stables. It seems like it's a direct step to the stables. Might as well just exhaust everything here. It'll save me time in the long run.
A kitchen range that could really only be found in furniture catalogs of the last century.
For the most part, this does just look like a redrawing of
A few
the
teaspoons.
kitchen in the first
They're all
room.
well polished and lined up in a neat row.
But they skipped the section of the dining room.
I'm just gonna take a spoon. Well, the dishes are well looked after, but you can't hide their age. They're becoming faded.
So we have an interesting chopping sound that starts and stops.
A coffee grinder is the last thing I'd have expected in an English castle. But it looks really new and unused.
So I imagine we might use that.
That's for hanging of meat.
Oops, forget that.
An empty vase. It looks old, like everything here.
Man, sure does seem like it takes 5 minutes to look at anything. You know, and clear out one room of all the ridiculously large amounts of things that you can click on. Imagine if you weren't playing with this.
Judging by the layer of dust, they're no longer used.
Like, imagine if you were just trying to pixel hunt every single thing that you could look at.
There ain't many dishes for such a big household, but they're probably only used by the ladies. Much too good for the servants.
See, that just gets us down to some pans that I can't take right now. And that just means I'm gonna talk to Sally. I might as well just talk to her in the next recording, that is. Another 45 minutes has gone. We're in Black Mirror. Feels like 25 hours into this game. We're finally in the Black Mirror. It would have made decent sense to start the game in Black Mirror, have you solve a few goals, maybe get trapped in a cell, take some of those puzzles that were in the middle of the game, and then do a flashback and introduce Angelina and do that first chapter, and then certainly separate chapter 1 from chapter 2 in some ways. If you just played around with the timeline, it would be at least a little interesting. This is just not a good way to even sell your game. The game is called Black Mirror 2. You don't get the Black Mirror Castle until the 5th act. Anyways, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, I'm asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have